Regards, my name is Maria de los Ángeles Guzmán Muñoz, and I'm going to tell my anecdote and then explain the respective agreement and government. This is my ID card, as can you see? So first, hello, I am Maria. This is my anecdote. Many years ago, when I was studying English in a language course, Carlos, our English teacher, had to present a play performed by the students, taking as reference a fairy tale. It could be Cinderella, Snow White, Rapunzel, and other stories. The good thing about the play is that you could modify the story a little in order to give a good moral. The teacher Carlos, along with me, was deciding on the story of Rapunzel. For the reason the teacher explained that the rules were going to be according to the level of English that we had. I was given the role of Rapunzel's mother, Mother Gothel. Susana was given the character of Rapunzel, and Julia was given the role of the prince for Skewhead. The rest of my classmates obtained the sequential papers. At the moment, I feel sad, and I said to myself, the character is mine, but I don't want it. I didn't want to be the villain. In those days, a group of teachers came to the class and explained to us how the play should be, the time we have to act, and the lines we have to learn, along with other parameters. Those weeks were a lot of fun because we have to practice that we have to say. It was not very hard to learn since 80% of the script were easy word to learn. For example, I have to tell Rapunzel and tell her, oh, Rapunzel, let your hair down. And when I was already with her, Rapunzel, I would say, your hair is too long. I love you, but more your hair, or lines like, you must stay here since everything you see belongs to us. Rapunzel, you are locked out for your own good. The words I most remember having to say to Susana characters were, "You are Rapunzel, and you must take care of your hair, and don't let anyone cut it." As the story could be modified to Mother Gothel's character, she was given a different ending, where she, after discovering the prince's relationship with Rapunzel, told them the following: if Rapunzel and you love each other, you should be together. But the hair that Rapunzel and I take care of doesn't leave this tower. So Mother Gothel cuts Rapunzel's hair, and Mother Gothel runs away and was never heard from again. In fact, it was a very strange ending, but I guess they want to do something different with a happy moral. Things that the prince and Rapunzel live happily ever after. Anyway, for me and my friends, that ending was better than the original story. At the end of the play, they congratulated me and I ate what my mom brought me. Next, I'm going to explain the agreement that you can find in my anecdote. But first, you have to know that agreement is basically the relationship that exists between the different elements of a sentence. This agreement deals with the relationship between noun pronouns, verb pronouns, a good example that I could say is, for example, when a person starts to learn English, this person starts to learn the grammatic rules. For example, the nouns, pronouns, the verb to be. And the rules that exist, for example, in verb to be is I am, you are, he is, she is. This is something that you can change. That is the reason that exists this agreement. Is this concordance to the nouns to the next part that continues with the nouns. Okay. For example, I am Maria. I can say I is Maria. It's a mistake. I was already with her. I know that this sentence is in past, but I know that I can use it in this agreement because I can say I were already with her. The only way that I can use this kind of question, primarily correct, is I was. The same with you are. I can say you is. The same with these sentences that is in third person. That is, it was not very hard. I can say it were not very hard. Okay. Then in this agreement, we explain many rules. One of that rules include to that kind of sentences that use along with and as well as. For example, in these sentences is the teacher Carlos along with me was deciding. Many people could explain that the teacher and me are plural, but I am using this phrase of this word along with. That is the reason that this part I'm not to put where. Because I am the first one, the person that is here is talking about is the teacher. So the teacher belongs to was, not to were or anything that a person could say. The next question said we have to learn along with other parameters. It's the same. It's similar Just I am explaining that we have to learn it's plural. That is the reason that the next part that along with have to be in plural. For example, a rule explained that if the noun is in plural, then use the plural verb form. For example, in this sentence, it said, in those days, a group of teachers came to the class. When I'm saying in those days, it's plural. That is the reason that after to say the group of, I put teachers with S, that is plural. Then I'm going to explain you the government. Basically, the government is, according to the virtual guide, is the relationship between a word and its depends. What does mean? That this government can classify it in three different kind of government. The first one is the nominative case, that is subjective. For example, when a sentence is a reference to the nouns or the pronouns. For example, I am referring an action. Here, I was studying English. The noun is I, and I am referring that I was doing something. I was studying English. Another example that is not in my anecdote, but I could say Maria was studying French. That could be an example of this kind of government. The second kind of government is genitive case, that is could be the use possessive. Basically, this kind of government used to the apostrophe to explain that something belongs to a person, or use the word of, as can you see here. And the special thing that described to this kind of the genitive case is that the possessive pronouns replace the nouns. For example, in the sentences, Carlos, or English teacher. I know that Carlos, or English teacher, is the person who is teaching us the classes. But I can say Carlos, my English teacher, or Carlos, the English teacher. So I can change that, but I am using the possessive because I am specifying something. The second sentence is I was given the role of Rapunzel's mother. I am specifying that this is the mother of Rapunzel, but I am using the apostrophe. The next one is the character is mine. I am using a possessive pronouns because I am explaining that this belongs to me. The same with the next, that is Rapunzel, let your hair down. You must take care of your hair. The prince relationship. I am explaining that this is the relation of the prince. The next one is I must remember having to say Susanna's character. With this, I am saying that I have to say something to Susanna characters, not to Susanna. Is the the character that is going to be played by Susanna. The last one is Mother Gothel cuts Rapunzel's hair. I am explaining that this is the hair that belongs to Rapunzel. The last one is the government with accusative and dative case. These have three kind of different sub-classification that are direct object, indirect object, and oblique object. This direct object, for example, when I am referring a noun or a pronoun, and I'm going to explain you something. When I am using these kind of accusative, these questions, these sentences have to respond or answer to the question what or who. That is the reason, for example, when I say into the direct object, this specifies that the person that are doing the action. For example, Rapunzel live, Rapunzel you are looking, or I love you. So it's very direct because I can specify the person that do the action. But the next one is the opposite, the indirect object. I just not saying who is the specific person that creates something or do something. I'm just saying that a person was with something. Okay, for example, Julia was given the prince who rescued her. I am saying that in an indirect way, I am saying that he is the person that is going to play this character. The second indirect is Susanna was given the character. I am not saying Susanna is the character. Susanna was given the character. This is an indirect object. In this indirect object, this is basically they have to beneficiate to the action of the verb. For example, in this indirect object, we can include verbs like give, bring, tell, show, take, offer, and many others. And the last one is the oblique object. This receives the direct object as the indirect object. For example, when I am using this, a specific characteristic is that I am going to put to, and then the possessive pronouns, for example. For example, in these sentences is everything you see belongs to us, but I could say everything you see belongs to me, or everything you see belongs to you. That could change depending of the meaning of the sentences. So that's all. Thank you very much.